Next up is our industry speaker, which is Mr. Kelly Zmak. I was really happy when I asked him today to speak that he said yes. Always give him the last minute. Kelly is president of Radical Entertainment. He is basically responsible for overseeing the studio's operations and all of product development. He's been in the industry for 23 years, starting as a QA tester after dropping out of college. Is that correct? And I have a PhD and I'm reporting to you.
We told him to drop out.
You did something, didn't you? Just a little Radical. We were formed in 1991, and since then we have shipped 36 multi-platform titles and sold over 30 million units.
Thanks for the invitation. I was rather surprised, actually, that Dave would invite me to a forum like this, because I'm not normally considered politically correct. As he said, I dropped out of university when I was junior. I remember my dad saying, "Son, you're ruining your life. Playing games for a living isn't a real job." And then about 8 years later, when I made a VP, he called me and said, "Okay, I was wrong." I want to talk a little bit about my industry, and these opinions are my own. Obviously, I influence the attitudes and the behaviors of my staff, but they're not necessarily the behaviors of Activision Legal or any of the associated Activision Blizzard personnel. As you know, Activision Blizzard is a very large organization. We are a studio within the Activision Blizzard organization. If you're not familiar with what Blizzard or who Blizzard is, they are a small company located in Southern California that made a product called World of Warcraft. They generate $100 million in revenue per month. Yes, $1.2 billion off of one product that has been in the marketplace for 4 years. I would love to have longevity like that within anything. And that's just one part of our organization. The other part makes a product called Guitar Hero, Call of Duty. It goes on and on. Prototype, we hope, will eventually be one of those. I bring that up because the context of what I'm addressing here deals with the reality of a very large organization. We have an 800-pound gorilla down the street from us called Electronic Arts. It's just a phenomenal organization. Now the #2 publisher in the industry. The truth is, Electronic Arts is an organization that is built off of the exact same premise that if you make great games, people will buy them. So what is it about games that is driving the thought and the thinking of our world? We are becoming and will become the most powerful cultural force in entertainment in the world. That is not a boast, it is a statement of reality. People are choosing to play games more than any other form of entertainment. They are walking away from TV, they are stepping away from the internet. They are choosing to play games on iPhone. The #1 selling iPhone entertainment app is a Crash racing game, of which we're not in any way involved in the development of it, but it's phenomenal to me that a product that has over 15 years of legacy is the #1 app on the iPhone. How many of you guys own an iPhone? Right. So at any given time, there are 25 applications for entertainment on the iPhone at any one time, because you only look at that top 25 list. How many of you guys actually push the button and say next 25, next 25? It's indicative of the problems we're faced with today. The volume of what we do in our world is creating this cultural phenomena of choice and entitlement, right? And all of these things will tie eventually together. As we make games and become this cultural force, we have the reality, we have generations behind us that have never been without access. Fill in the blank after access. They have always been part of a connected society. I have two daughters, 16 and 17-year-old. That's where the grade comes from. Wonderful. They're brilliant kids. They were texting me during the opening introduction. They're in Toronto on a band trip right now, texting me and explaining to me that they were doing very well on the choir and the band trip. That's normal to them. I remember my youngest daughter asked my wife, "How old were you? When you were a teenager, you got your first cell phone?" Okay, 32. Here's the difference. They're actually coming into our world with a very different perspective of where they are. My daughters, it was interesting, my youngest daughter said to me the other day, she says, "Dad, I'm going to take physics next year." I said, "Physics?" She goes, "Yeah, biology's too hard." It's a mindset. It's a mindset. And what it is I have been telling my youngest daughter for years, "Honey, you are really good at math. You are really good at math. Why don't you focus on that? Because it's something you really enjoy." Right? My other daughter, I keep telling her she's really good at math. She goes, "No, I'm not. I don't like it. I love literature." Right? Yes, but you still need math. Dad, I don't want to do what you do. Math is what drives our society, but we don't see it because we don't talk about it, because we don't push it, because it's not part of the way we think. I was having a discussion yesterday at the Game Developers Conference where a gentleman was giving a panel, and he was talking about how engineers are not creative. What? I don't understand the mindset that, and even in our own industry, how do we define our staff? Well, we have the creative staff. We have engineers. Right? What do we hire engineers to do? Solve problems in real time. In our organizations, we actually don't have meetings to make a decision. We have meetings to justify the decisions you made, because they have to be made in real time. How many of you have a strategy that you meet together every week for 2 years, every year for 2 weeks? You guys get together, you do an offsite, you play golf, you do all the nice things, you come up with a strategy, and the day you leave that session, your strategy is out of date. We've done it all the time. The truth is, since decisions are made in real time, why aren't our strategies made in real time? I'm talking about a mind shift in thinking, so what does this have to do with this forum? First of all, I think it's important for us to understand that I am in the business of making games. That's what I do. I'm actually not in the business of working with academia. I dropped out of the university system, junior, because I saw an opportunity. I look back with regret on that decision. I've done very well for myself and done very well for my family over the years, but I still regret not having gone through that experience. But you have to realize that my perspective then for the last 23 years is from a perspective of getting it done. That's what we do. We make games, right? It's about hitting a deadline, hitting a milestone. What do? We get to do what we have to do as a development studio because somebody gives us an enormous amount of money to do what we really love to do. And I can tell you the 170 people we have at our studio love doing what they do. There are days they don't. There are days they do not appreciate what they do, but there are days when they walk into the store on June 9th and they see their product on the shelf and they say, 3 years. 3 years. And when they see a quality score that's above 90, they go backflip. It's the passion that drives what we do. And then the tools, the logistics of everything we have is to get to that end goal. So how do we, as a group, and I was given 5 questions, how do we create opportunities for our academic and our industry to work together? And I looked at that and I said, I have no idea. I mean, we do things now. We provide opportunities now, and that's done through co-ops or interns or things like that. But the truth is, we look for people. We don't look for problems. We don't look for a problem to then bring a solution to the table. We look for people to identify where a problem is and provide those solutions within context of what we are trying to do. And that thinking is very much from this mindset that I have to pay back those people that give me the enormous amount of money to do what I do with interest. And it's a very focused mindset. We talk a lot about focus inside our organization and how easily we are distracted. And yet, in that same mindset, isn't that what academia does? You drive a focus. There was a comment made yesterday that absolutely infuriated me, that the entitled students coming out of the university system want a greater work-life balance than the current existing employees, right? In other words, they don't want crunch, they don't want to work hard. That was the comment that was made. I think it's bullshit. Yeah, I think you find a group of, is that political? You turn your camera off? I'm sorry. The truth is, if somebody's passionate about what they do, you're going to have to hold them back from working the 20 hours a day. You're going to have to hold them, you have to get them to understand the balance, right? I know university students, they sleep on the floor because they're working on a project to get it done. 2 hours sleep, they're exhausted, drinking Red Bull until they're just absolutely, they can't figure it out. And that's passion. That's to get to the finish line. It's exactly what we look for in our industry. They're not incompatible. Our attitudes and our behaviors reflect. We have an entitled group coming into our world, but it's our responsibility as leaders to embrace that entitlement and actually use that enthusiasm, which means that old farts like me have to learn how to deal with that, because that talent and that expertise and that leadership is what is there tomorrow. So look